Cesar or Cesar, whichever you want to call me, from CesarUSA.com. This video is about the stand-up comedians, basically on becoming a comedian. Is my personal opinion. Is basically tips about how to become a comedian or how to be a better comedian. I'm doing this because I have seen people wanting to do that, but not really knowing how to do that. So I want to give you some tips. This is first. This is a YouTube page. This is a comedian by the name of Peter Albero. He is Hispanic. Most of the comedians that I'm going to mention today are Hispanic. So if you speak English, you may not understand them, but the tips that I'm going to provide you are useful for any language. Basically, he is one of my favorite comedians who say things such as life in, let's say, with his wife, life with partner, making fun of situations in which things happen between fights between husband and wife, things like that, like jealous woman, things like that. So she will be jealous or mistreat him or fight with him or whatever. So he's very funny. So let's say he's on the phone with her and she's rushing him to, how come she didn't pick you up or whatever, pick her up or things like that. Comparing women, say women that are pretty against women that are ugly, saying that the ugly ones behave much better, that they are not jealous, that they're patient, things like that. So he has a multitude of stories that he will kind of present to people in a, like if you were actually seeing the actual situation. So he's a good actor, really excellent actor, where he's acting both sides of the story, the woman, the jealous woman, and the say the husband or boyfriend, things like that, situations. So he's actually acting the situations between one and the other. So these things are pretty funny, and that's one tip that somebody aspiring comedian could do. Basically present situations, events, things like that, and in a funny manner or in a kind of similar to reality, but with some funny twists. Okay, so he's one of them. There's another one. He's a Mexican comedian. He's I think he's Mexican. He's first time I see him, I saw a couple of things that he did, and they are really funny. So comedy is quite a bit preparation, a lot of practice, making sounds, things like that. So basically, it's basically presenting a show where you present a subject in a funny manner, but it's not like you go there and just make it up as you go. I think it's more like a preparation where actually you either write or prepare or sketch a script or a story and kind of make a list of all the things that you want to include in your story, or actually make a script where you could actually repeat what it says on the script with all the funny messages and funny words and funny sounds. So basically making a story, preparing something for the show. It's not just showing up in there and mix things that are not related to each other. It's better to present a beginning to end thing kind of story in a funny manner. So, but if the story is not funny, it's not gonna work. So it needs to be something interesting, something that you can the comedian can reproduce in a close to life matter with some funny twists, things like that. There are other people that are just because of the appearance they kind of look funny. They could, they look interesting or things like that, and they act their way. behave. That this is more like not stand-up comedy, but there are comedians on television or things like that, where funny situations happen. Normally, some comedians are pretty not very good looking, and actually that helps. When somebody is strange looking or not good looking, that helps. So things like that. This is Pepeto from Ray Rocheles. He show Venezuelan show that happened back in the 90s. He is one of the comedians. He already passed away, and he left some beautiful, great, funny shows. Costumes help a lot if you kind of relieve the person in like real life. Let's say this is in this example they are dressed like homeless, and they will have the makeup and everything. That helps, makeup, the hair, fake dress, and things like that. So that helps. This is another Radio Rochelle. It's a group of comedians that together they were presenting funny stories, short funny stories, and that kind of were presented on television, and this could last for years. Some shows lasted for years. There was one that's called Joselo with his brother, and they were like, I don't know how many years, decades on television. And that's because they prepare a script, and they're basically actors who present funny stories, and they will have actually somebody writing their funny stories for them. This is another one. There's all people that do Muppets. That's another way to make funny, make presentation shows, funny situations where they will use a one or more Muppet, and there's even the Muppet show, things like that, where you don't see the person holding the Muppet, but the person is behind the curtain or something. This is Guillermo Zuluaga, Montecristo. He's a very funny comedian. He used to imitate sounds, imitate children, things like that, and he was extremely funny. I love them. Yes, so he will have multiple voices, imitating children, imitating drunks, imitating all kind of different people in a funny manner, like gagging and all that stuff. So they learn technique. They have techniques where they reproduce sounds, reproduce all kind of stuff. This is another comedian who does. It's called Theo Gonzalez. He's very funny. Imitates sounds. Imitates all kind of things. Imitates singers. That's another thing that people can do. Imitate singers, famous singers, and that's basically a way of living. They live out of making people laugh. For example, this is a lady who cries, and actually is very funny. Yeah, so it's really funny if you know Spanish. But anyway, in English, the same thing. Imitating. Most people know about this show, it's El Chavo del Ocho, which is, I think it has been translated to many languages, most countries, and they were really funny. And they were really good for children, but they actually spread it to adults who enjoy the show. This one is an imitator, Lucha Navarro. He imitated sounds. He was pretty funny
ropa
too.
de invierno o ropa de verano. Ponla toda, te vas a la cresta.
He imitated sounds and all kind of stuff. He was really funny. Benny Hills, very funny. He's actually, I think, from England. Yeah, he's from England, and he was really funny. And some of the shows was actually without sound, and that was really funny. And you can still find shows of him on YouTube. And if you go to YouTube, you can actually, if you want to become a comedian, you can watch numerous comedians and kind of pick up some tips here and there from their techniques, and then you can build your own comedy show. I mean, comedy has been forever. I mean, many years. The Charlie Chaplin movie scenes that they were with no sound, and they were still were funny, all kind of different things that happened at the time. Even back in 1917, there was this thing happening. This comedy things that they were doing at the time. So I think that's basically it. Basically, learn from professionals. If you want to become a comedian, learn. Make your own script and then practice with family, with friends, and eventually, when you really develop multiple scripts, you have developed your skills, then you can start trying to get into stand-up comedies, and maybe somebody will discover you and offer you some spots on television or whatever. So you probably need to learn acting, take some acting classes, go to school, learn how to do things. Acting, dancing helps, learning how to do the steps here and there. That helps a lot. Anyway, thank you for watching and have a good day. Take care. Goodbye.